This episode of Dueling Ogres is brought to you by Audible. Click the banner or link in the description below for a 30-day trial with a free audiobook. After your trial, Audible is just $14.95 per month with an additional free audiobook each month.
For a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 171. Thank you for joining us as always on this unspeakable Wednesday evening, Earth date, October 31st, 2018. I'm your host, Brandon Full, and with me as always is my scintillating co-host, Remington Hitchcock. Say hello, Remington.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I think. How are you?
I'm not the one that's so far away I can feel the snake bite enter my veins.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna quote Metallica?
It's Godsmack, dude.
That's not Godsmack.
I'm not the one that's so far away. That's totally 100% Godsmack.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It's Metallica.
It's Godsmack, and the song is called Voodoo.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't believe you.
I saw Godsmack. Literally, I've seen Godsmack in concert.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know who Metallica or Godsmack is.
What is music? I don't even know what a musician are.
So why are you quoting Metallica to me?
Because the song's called Voodoo.
Okay.
It's a little hint of things to come.
Including the Vincent Price knockoff voice?
I'm going to be trying to not to do the Vincent Price voice.
Or maybe you should. Maybe you should do it through the whole
entire episode. Well,
yeah.
It's so bad. It's just like classic villain.
I was not confident enough in my Vincent Price to do a Vincent Price, so I made Brandon do it.
Yeah.
So I hope you all enjoyed it.
And you're really good at voices. You're like a vocalmancer.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I just came up with it, but I like that too.
That's super sexy. I'm a vocalmancer. I'm a vocalmancer. Watch out. I'll vocal all over you. I just made it less sexy, didn't I?
Wait for me to vocalize.
Hold on. I have to do my vocal warm-ups.
My baby, moo mommy.
My baby, moo mommy, mommy.
That's super hot, but can you do a Vincent Price?
Ma,
Damn
me,
it.
me. No, I can't. Sorry.
This
What?
leather keeps flaking off in my hands.
So I got some other office chairs from where we closed down work, and I let Brandon use my office chair that I have had for many years, and the leather is all rubbing off of it because apparently I just slide around like a goo in my chair. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like you're like an ooze.
Yeah,
Just
I don't sit in a chair. I just slide into it and I slide out of it. I don't know. But
I mean, you've had this chair a long time, though.
yeah, I
to
have.
be fair.
It's a Serta.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's got Serta foam in it, which
It's
is
pretty good. I have such bad posture, though. I don't lean back in the chair. I lean forward, so.
yeah. I've got there's a little knob on the back of the back or on the side of the back that you can turn that increases like the lumbar bend. It's really weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to play
higher.
with this chair and make it,
There you
make
go.
it mine. Ooh, it cranks.
Yeah. It's got a little cranking noise.
I
You can
can
probably
feel
hear
it.
that. Yeah. I think that's
cranked it as far as it'll go.
Yeah. Now run it all the way back the other way. There's just
There's
tantalizing.
nothing there. Nothing.
Yeah.
When I do it the other way, Remington.
Nothing?
No, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no lumbar.
I need a little bit of lumbar. Let me crank this baby back up.
This is really good listening, guys.
Yeah, it is. In case you can't hear that, I'm cranking. Okay.
Okay, cool.
My lumbar is sufficiently supported.
I also want to apologize for anybody who may hear like cars in the background or birds or whatever. It was really hot in the studio after we were trying to do something with the green screen, and apparently I forgot to mute my phone. And it got warm real fast because there's blankets on the walls to knock down those standing waves.
You're supposed to tell them that we are podcasting from a graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
We're podcasting from a graveyard.
So there's my bad Bela Lugosi.
This is like the most fucking Zoo Crew morning bullshit. You like reach over to hit the echo button. I love it.
They won't know. That moment of silence between will be edited out.
Yeah.
Edited.
So we're in a graveyard in New Orleans right now.
Yeah, Nolans.
Nolans.
If you're going to say it, Brandon, you got to say it right.
I remember before I went on my trip, I kept calling it New Orleans.
Yeah?
And everybody was like, why do you keep calling it that?
New Orleans?
But that's how you can pronounce it.
I'm going to New Orleans, guys. Hey, everybody, I'm taking a trip to New Orleans.
Are you just supposed to call it New Orleans?
No, you're supposed to call it Nolans.
Nolans? No, you can't walk up to somebody from New Orleans and say, hey, I'm glad to be in Nolans.
Yeah, you can. You absolutely can.
I was in Nolans.
Yeah?
I know how people are there.
Did they when you walked up to them, did you say you were glad to be in Nolans?
No.
Because if you didn't, then you have no basis of comparison.
Man, I was in New Orleans and I missed out on so much cool stuff. I was only there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But there was so much cool stuff I could have done. I really wish I would have seen the graveyards.
We should have traveled. We should travel, Brandon.
I agree.
We should travel. You and me, go on a road trip.
Where to?
I don't know, but everybody should pitch in like $10.
So we're crowdfunding our road trip?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Let's kickstart. Wait, would it be Kickstart or would it be
GoFundMe?
GoFundMe?
I think it should be a Kickstarter, and we will make a documentary. Those, I've seen those before, and they fail every time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When people are like,
Oh, if you just want to kickstart my trip across the United States, I'm going to make a documentary about each state.
Okay.
I'm going to try the cheeseburgers in every state, and then I'm going to make a documentary about it. It's going to be great.
That sounds like a great idea. Why have I not been in charge of doing this? I would make that happen. Because cheeseburgers in every state? Yes.
I really think the difference between a Kentucky cheeseburger and a California cheeseburger really merits about 20 minutes of film time.
God, that's a long time. That's a long time for a comparison between two burgers from vastly different states.
Well, I plan on this being a pretty in-depth documentary.
It's like 6-hour documentary about cheeseburgers.
It's like, Jesus Christ, enough already.
That's ridiculous. Why don't you get a life, sir?
But I think it would be cool to go on a road trip.
Yeah.
Maybe not crowdfunded road trip.
I think we should because that's the only way we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not making any money right now.
Yeah, you're broke right now.
Yeah.
You're not broke, but you're...
I have $11. No, I have $5 in my bank account.
What did you spend that you forgot that you had 11?
I had Hardee's today. I had one of those little $6 slider boxes.
Oh,
yeah.
Like a true broke person.
Yeah.
I have $11 in my bank account. Time for $6 Hardee's.
Yep. I could have gotten $4 Taco Bell, but I decided to splurge.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta treat yourself to those mini sliders.
Yeah, exactly. They were okay.
Yeah, that's my thinking with those sliders too.
Yeah, they're just okay.
Because they're cheap, so
Yeah.
on my lunch break sometimes I'll grab those, but yeah, they're just okay.
Yeah, for sure. So should we actually talk about what we're going to talk about?
Have you been up to anything? Do you have anything to discuss before?
That's right. You started it. It's so
I did.
weird. It's thrown my whole game off.
Yeah, I know.
That's
That's the second time I've ever done the opening.
ever in 171 episodes.
It was nice, but I like being relegated to co-host.
That's the thing. Co-host, it's so weird because co-host, even to me, feels like you're secondary,
Yeah, absolutely.
but you're not.
you have
co-host
co in the
means
name.
co means shared. So you're a co-host and I'm a co-host.
Yeah, but you would have to say, I'm your co-host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me as always is my co-host, Brandon Full.
Yeah.
But when you say, I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, you're immediately like, boom, he's the head guy.
Yeah.
And my co-host, Brandon Full, I'm the Andy Richter. Because
Wait.
Andy Richter was the co-host.
You're my Andy Richter?
I'm your Andy Richter.
That's weird. I always felt like you were my Conan.
Maybe I am. But Andy Richter was the co-host, right?
Yes.
But he was not on the same level as Conan.
Well, no. No. But that's because Conan has the hair
Yeah.
and the height. That's all you need in show business. The hair and the height.
So it had nothing to do with how professional or good he was at his job. It was just all hair and height.
No, because Andy Richter far and above a better writer than Conan.
How do you know that?
Because Andy Richter had his own show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did.
Yeah. Andy Richter Controls the Universe, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it failed miserably, but he did have his own show where Conan did not. I mean,
Conan?
He does.
Yeah, I was
He
going to say,
has a
hold
show
on.
called Conan, but it's a talk show. That doesn't count.
I would love to do a talk show.
Yeah?
Mhm.
We're doing one right now, Brandon. That's literally what this is.
Yeah, but we don't have guests on that often.
But we do have guests.
Yeah.
We could do a talk show.
Like,
Get guests and bring them over, and we'll Twitch out a talk show.
I do have a list of guests that I want to get on.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Like who?
There's an artist named Kelsey Crawford,
Oh, yeah, Kelsey.
who Stephen Hines, or the Diamond Man Stephen Hines, recommended to
Yeah.
me. I've met her a couple times. She seems really cool. I like her artwork a lot.
Yeah.
I'd like to have her on. I'm still trying to figure out the angle, though. You know what I mean? Because I've only read a little bit of her stuff.
Uh-huh.
She's not local, so I can't go out and buy a bunch of her stuff.
Right. But at the same time, she's the artist, right? I mean,
She does all of it.
Oh, she has her own storylines and stuff too.
She's the artist, writer, inker.
Gotcha. Because I know that she's worked on other people's work as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just,
I like her work too. It's very clean.
yeah. So
very,
I don't,
very good.
I don't know the angle to just have her on and be like, hey, just talk about comics. Like, there's got to be more to it. But I also don't want to be like, what's it like to be a female comic creator? Because I feel like that's a little, I don't know. Not pandering's not the right word, but a little like, so what's it like to be a female comic creator?
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
I feel what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just ask her how she got into art, what kind of style she likes. I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
It could totally be done. I like how this is not
This is
this isn't our Halloween episode.
Welcome to our
or
Halloween
anything.
episode, yeah.
Where we talk about the minutia of what to talk about on a podcast.
So yeah, have you been up to anything? Make it quick. Besides sliders.
I went to the unemployment office yesterday because in the state of West Virginia, I don't know how it is in other states. Some states have it, some states do not. But in the state of West Virginia, while you are unemployed, you can go to the unemployment office and they will help you get further education.
Yeah.
So you could potentially go to school. They'll give you so much money to kind of pay for it, and then you have to take care of the rest yourself. But it's a good little stepping stone to something new. So I think I have an appointment to get into it more tomorrow. Have to fill out like FAFSA and Pell Grant and this and that and the other stuff. But I'm pretty excited to get on the website once we're done after dinner and kind of go through. I have like a 60 question test that's like, what kind of stuff do you like?
Oh, I remember doing
Yeah.
that test. Yeah. Not through the unemployment office, but through a different organization I went through doing that test. And
Right.
then it kind of tells you what career you should go into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through that. I'm going to see what it says. I don't know what I want to do. Like, I think it would be interesting to do electrical. I could become an electrician. There doesn't seem to be a huge demand around here for like audio engineers.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen. I mean, granted, I haven't really put my ear to the ground for it, but it would definitely be something that I'm interested in doing. It's just not necessarily going to pay the bills, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside to living in a small town is you get to decide, do I want to get a degree that's worthless here and hope that I can find a better job in a bigger city and move?
Yeah.
Or do I want to get like something I'm not entirely sold on, but I'll be able to live comfortably here?
Right.
Like electrician, you're always going to have work as an
Oh, yeah,
electrician.
absolutely.
Or carpenter, or electrician-carpenter combo.
We call that an electrocarpenter.
A carpetrician.
A carpetrician.
A carpetrician is somebody who
Only works on carps.
yeah, exactly.
Only works on the electric and carps. Inside of carps. Not
Yeah, the electrical diodes inside of all carps.
Yeah.
And that's our first story today, folks.
Yeah.
About all the secret electrical diodes in carps.
Oh, so I was there, and there were 5 other people in there with me during this like brief introduction to what you're getting into. right?
Right.
So he's like, okay, who's here to get their CDLs? So for those of you who don't know, CDL is your registration license for driving large vehicles.
Mhm.
You can get a Class A, Class B, etc., and so on. Everybody but me raised their hand, and he's like, okay, well, I'm the guy who usually takes care of the schooling side, and then the other guy is the fellow who takes care of the CDL stuff, so we'll set up appointments for you guys to come in and see him. But I'll give you a brief overview of what to expect, etc. He went through and he did that, and I entertained the thought of getting my CDL as well, just because, again, you can make some decent money. Even the city bus is hiring right now. In this area, trucking is a huge thing
Yes.
at the moment. So even the city buses are hiring. They start off at $18 an hour. They'll pay to get your CDLs. I mean, it's just, but I'd be working 50 or 60 hours a week, and I wouldn't really have time to do like the extracurricular stuff like the podcast or streaming or anything like that.
Mhm.
So that is something that eventually I'll have to address. You know, we may have to slow down and do once every 2 weeks or something like that. Or maybe the schedule will be all kinds of crazy and it'll just come out when it comes out instead of like Thursday or Friday. Or Friday or Saturday, I think is how it's been recently.
Yeah.
But I don't want to jump straight into something new without at least taking the opportunity to potentially learn something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, being unemployed is a good time for you
Yeah,
to kind of discover what you want to do.
yeah. Because all these years of being out of high school, I still haven't figured out what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that doesn't ever really go away.
yeah, I guess. Unless you actually, had a plan. So how about you? What have you been up to?
I was doing podcast notes this week. I've been playing my Xbox some. I picked up South Park: The Fractured But Whole,
Oh, yeah?
and I've been playing that.
How's that going for you?
Not bad. I've put maybe 2 hours into it, so I've not really played it a whole lot. I like South Park, and I really do like South Park, but the reliance on fart and poop humor is a little much for me. And that's probably surprising because we make a lot of very crude jokes on this podcast.
Right, yeah.
But fart jokes just really aren't my style.
You're not a big fan of the fart joke?
Well, like there's a button. You only have 4 buttons as the character when you're walking around. It's
Yeah.
like a turn-based combat game. And the turn-based combat is really good.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
Played, and it looks like a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. But there's like a button specifically where you can just fart. There's a fart button. Every house you go into that has a toilet, there's a mini game where you can use their toilet.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's just a little like, okay, I get it, South Park. Let's get a little more in here.
Right.
As far as gameplay goes, I've been really enjoying it. And then I have still been working on my diet and doing pretty well with that. I've lost 15 pounds so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So that's really what I've been up to.
Well, that's good. At least you're continuing on with your diet. I wish I could say the same thing. I think I've put on 5 pounds since I've quit working, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, you got to not be too hard on yourself because you quit working. You were getting in all your steps at work.
Yeah.
You have to find some way to get that out now.
Yeah, which is difficult because I don't like outside.
Yeah.
So I do have stairs. I could walk up and down the stairs, which my knees are not happy about the idea of.
Yeah. You could do laps in your backyard.
Yeah, I could. I could just go walk around the mall, too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's always a choice. But I don't know. I haven't. What my biggest problem is that I'm not on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any kind of a schedule to do things. And that's what I need. I need a schedule.
Yeah.
So I just need to sit down and schedule myself one day and say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and this is going to be my routine.
Yeah, you are a very routine-based person.
Most people are. They may not necessarily realize it, but most people prefer a routine. People don't like being shoved into randomness constantly.
Yeah.
Or the lack of things to do, which is also random. Like when the world is your oyster, you shut down. Because you have you could literally I could literally do anything, so I do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Because it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah. I could go fucking skydiving if I wanted. I mean, it costs money, but I could. I could go skydiving.
You'd go to that $5 skydiving place.
Yeah. with that real rickety biplane.
Hop in.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome. Taking your life into your own hands.
Yeah.
But instead of doing that, I just sit here.
You do stuff, though.
No, I do. I try to keep myself busy.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not accomplishing as much as I wanted to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do we want to do the actual Halloween podcast now that we've killed like 37 minutes in pre-gaming?
In pre-gaming?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this Halloween, we wanted to kind of jump back into the theme episodes, and we were woefully unprepared.
Yes.
As we usually are. But usually for the theme episodes, we take a little time and actually do some research. That didn't happen as much as we wanted, but it should still be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think. Because this Halloween, we are going to discuss voodoo and zombies. So we're going to get into doing that voodoo that we do so well.
Which there is a connection.
There is.
Between them. So there is a thread that ties all of this together.
Yes.
Which I had totally forgotten about because I tried so hard to take voodoo notes.
Yeah.
And it's just been a hell of a week for me, and it was difficult for me to sit down and take notes.
Yeah, focus was a problem.
And I feel bad because I don't like putting out subpar shows. I don't like talking to the listeners and being like, I tried to take notes, but sorry, I didn't. Fart noise, here you go. Yeah. But I do have some notes. Although when I came in, Remington said to me, so you have some sort of connection between voodoo and zombies, right? Because Remington did the zombie aspect of it. I did the voodoo aspect.
Yeah.
And I was just caught. I was totally blindsided. I was like, no.
There's a connection?
And as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. There's a huge connection there that I had totally missed in my notes.
Like when you suggested this, I thought that's where you were going for it.
No, I went off of what Viscount Terry W. Over in the second suggested.
Oh.
He suggested we do voodoo or zombies.
That's true. So we're doing voodoo and zombies.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So how do you want to do this? How do you want to get into it?
I say we just jump right in. The water's fine, Brandon. The voodoo water of Pins,
Haiti.
And Haiti. The voodoo water of Haiti is fine. Yeah. Do you have any continued notes on Santeria?
I don't practice Santeria, Remington.
I
ain't got no crystal ball, so.
Oh, fair enough. So we won't be talking about Santeria then.
No. Dude, okay. There is so much fucking stuff about voodoo.
Yeah?
There is so much.
I didn't
even get into Santeria.
Uh-huh.
I got into, there's voodoo.
Yeah.
There's Voodon't.
There's hoodoo.
Which I briefly cover.
Okay.
There's New Orleans voodoo. There's Creole voodoo.
Right.
There's Haitian Voodon't. All of them are sort of connected.
Yeah.
Because
it's just like the different sects of Christianity.
Well, that's the thing.
Although Christians hate it when you say sects.
All the different sects of Christianity.
Sects. S-E-C-T-S.
Sects.
Sects.
Do they really they don't like sects?
Yeah, they don't like, they seem to not like it when you, like, if you are talking about a Baptist and a Lutheran, they don't like it when you refer to the two of them together as a sect of Christianity.
Huh, I wasn't aware of that.
Like a collection of the different types. But it's essentially
I mean,
the
that's
same
exactly
thing.
What it is.
Yeah, it is.
A Methodist is a sect of Christianity, and a Lutheran is a sect of Christianity.
I feel like the ones who know what the definition of a sect is probably are fine with it, but I have run into a few who are just like, this is not a sect.
Maybe they thought you were saying sex.
Maybe. It sounds very similar. But anyway, continue.
So part of the reason why there's so many different kinds of voodoo is it's based in West Africa.
Okay.
And then the slave trade of the 1700s and 1800s created a diaspora. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
It sounds pretty close.
Okay, we'll just say that I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
Diaspora. Where it took West Africans and spread them all throughout the world.
Right.
Voodon't originates in West Africa and is practiced by the people of Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Nigeria. And Voodon't has a cosmology that focuses around spirits.
Okay. So this is where I'll drop at least a first little hint of the zombie tie-in.
Okay.
The word zombie is believed to come from the Congo. And the original word is Nzambi, Nzambi, which means the spirit of a dead person.
Zombie.
Yeah. Zombie, spelled Zonbi, is used in Louisiana Creole or the Haitian Creole. That represents a person who died and was then brought back to life without free will
Yes.
or speech. So that's a little bit of the voodoo tie-in so far.
There's a lot more of it, believe me.
Yeah.
So they believe that spirits inhabit everything.
Yes.
And if case there's a listener, I'm going to put this out there. If there's a listener who's very familiar with the voodoo, I'm glossing over a lot of stuff, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of stuff wrong.
Yeah.
So please forgive me.
If you need a lock of hair, though, just write me.
To create a fetish is what that would be called, Remington.
Yes. Not a voodoo doll,
Right.
but a fetish.
Voodoo dolls are considered evil magic.
Okay. We'll get into that?
Yes.
Yes.
So you have your major spirits, and your major spirits are things such as cities, humanity, water, things like that. So you have your major spirit of death. One of the ones that's probably the most famous is Baron Samedi,
Okay.
translated Baron Saturday, who is the spirit, or the Loa is what they're called,
Uh-huh.
the Loa of death.
Okay.
So these are the major spirits. And then you have the minor spirits, and the minor spirits might be the spirit of an individual road that you live on,
Okay.
or a creek by your house.
Or your pet rock.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know if it goes into animism in such a way that Japanese religion does, where individual rocks have spirits. I'm not sure if it gets that deep.
Yeah.
But the main spirit, the creator of the world, was known as Bonji,
Okay.
which means the good god.
Okay.
And Bonji created the world and everything around it, and then left. So you don't really interact with Bonji anymore.
Okay.
You interact with all of the major spirits that he left behind that created humanity.
Ah, okay.
So you don't really even worship, from what I understand, you don't really even worship him
Uh-huh.
because he doesn't interact with stuff at all. You can acknowledge and respect who he is,
Yeah.
but you don't really, in your day-to-day worshiping, he's not really a factor.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any control over anything.
Yeah, he's just to be...
He's relinquished his control over it. He was like... he's like me when I sit down to do dinner and I'm tired after I'm done, and like maybe I could have used a little bit more salt. I'm like, meh, it's good enough.
Ginger will throw salt in there if she wants to.
Exactly.
There you go. Ginger is your minor spirit.
Yes.
Or I guess she would be a major spirit
Yeah.
in this
Well,
house.
yeah. She would be a major.
Whereas
spirit.
your dogs and your cats would be minor spirits.
Right.
But because there are spirits in everything, all creation is considered holy,
Uh-huh.
which is why mundane objects hold so much power in voodoo.
Okay.
So when you go to like a voodoo shop, or you see somebody, a typical voodoo altar on TV, or even in a documentary you're watching, you're going to see carved statues, you're going to see fetishes of things created,
Right.
You know, locks of hair, feathers, things like that.
Right.
Those hold power because those are said to bind spirits to them
Okay.
through rituals.
Right.
And because they're so mundane, gives them so much power, because you're acknowledging, hey, there's a spirit inside of here, and I'm going to worship specifically the spirit that inhabits this statue.
Okay.
So when you call upon help from the outside, from the astral plane or the ethereal plane, to get into some D&D terms here,
Right. Yeah. I was getting ready to. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was going to ask if they call it the astral or
it is ethereal plane.
Nice.
Or
Okay.
maybe not plane, but it is the ethereal world.
Okay.
That's where the spirits live, is kind of in between life and death.
Right.
So whenever you perform these rituals with these totems, you are calling that spirit from the ethereal realm to your world to inhabit this totem,
Okay.
to do things for you.
Nice.
Worldwide, Voodoo has... I'm going through my notes, and basically I'm just throwing shit at you now.
Okay.
Worldwide, Voodoo has over 50 million followers.
Wow.
And I gotta say,
That's actually kind of a small number in the scope of things, in the scope of other religions, but still pretty impressive.
Well, in Haiti, I think I read they have like 19.3 million people, something close to that.
Yeah.
And a good portion of Haitians practice some form of voodoo.
Ah, I see.
So you get a lot of that. And then you have New Orleans voodoo.
Yeah.
And then you have voodoo in some other places like Nigeria and West Africa
Right.
where it's practiced.
And then, if I remember correctly, Santeria is kind of like a mix of voodoo and some Catholicism. Something like that.
Here's the thing. Voodoo, especially Haitian voodoo, because a lot of the slave trade was French. It was the French doing the slave trade from West Africa that kind of created this diaspora.
Uh-huh.
And they were Catholic at the time.
Right.
So Catholicism is rooted so deeply into voodoo.
Right.
The spirits often reflect saints.
Yeah.
Which is why you get in something like Santeria, which I know is its own thing.
Yeah.
Them worshiping not the Virgin Mary, but like the Mother of Death.
Right.
I think Santeria is practiced more in Mexico, isn't it?
It is of Afro-Cuban roots, developed by the beliefs and the customs of the Yoruba people and incorporating some elements of the Catholic religion. So...
The Catholic religion, you mean? Oh, you said Catholic.
Oh, yeah, I did. Catholic religion. So maybe it's not a branch of voodoo. Maybe it's just
its own thing.
Its own thing. Yeah. I don't know. I saw it was also referenced in one of the things that I was reading. So I don't know if there's an actual tie together. If the Afro portion of that is I continued reading here. Its origin that developed in the Spanish Empire among West African descendants. Santeria is a Spanish word that means the worship of saints.
Okay, so Santeria is more of a Spanish thing.
Yeah.
I guess if it comes from Cuba, it's more of a Hispanic thing.
Yeah. But it does have some West African roots to it as well. So, and we've already discussed voodoo primarily being West African, right?
Yes.
So,
but
there's definitely some tie-in.
The voodoo that we know is heavily based in French.
Yeah.
The West African voodoo isn't really what I focused on,
okay,
which is called Voodon't.
Yeah.
The voodoo that I focused on is like Haitian voodoo.
Okay, so Haitian, Creole, etc. and so on.
Right. Haitian voodoo believes in two aspects of the soul.
Okay.
You have the gros bon ange and the petit bon ange, which means the big good angel and the little good angel.
Okay, so your major and your minor spirits.
It's a form of dualism, but for the soul. The big angel is responsible for our basic biological functions.
Okay.
So breathing, moving, thinking, our blood, stuff like that.
Yeah.
While the little angel is responsible for our personality, character, and willpower.
So your brain and your heart.
Like what, the little angel?
Your brain is your big angel, and your heart is your little angel. I mean, if you were to draw a parallel from like the differences between your personality versus your biological functions.
Yeah.
You know, you say that your feelings come from your heart.
Yeah.
You know.
So your heart in the abstract sense.
Yes, your heart in the abstract, not your literal blood pumping heart.
Right. And this kind of ties into zombies a little bit too, because they say that part of what creates a zombie is when you separate the little angel from the body.
Okay. See, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so all you have is the gros bon ange, so you have the biological functions moving, but you don't have the character, personality, things like that.
Right. And that makes sense because, like, going back to it where I said the Louisiana Creole or the Haitian Creole said or used zombie as somebody who's been brought back to life without speech or free will.
Yeah.
It is the removal of the little angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with zombies that I read in my very cursory when I got here connection of zombies to voodoo.
Right.
Is a lot of what we think of as the zombies now, and I don't know if you go into this, is a book written by somebody who went to Haiti in like 1915 or something like that.
Yeah.
Guy wrote a book about how he saw a bunch of different voodoos and they brought some dudes back to life and they used tetrodotoxin.
Yes. Yeah, there's a brief talk about that in here as well. Voodoo folklore contends that Bokors, this is from anthropology.msu.edu. This is a article about the history of zombies. It's pretty short, but I'll be referencing it and a couple other sources as well. And then he also lists his sources in this.
So double source.
Yeah, it's
section.
double sourced. Voodoo folklore contends that Bokors, voodoo priests that were concerned with the study and application of black magic, possessed the ability to resurrect the deceased through the administration of Cupadre. Cupadre is a powder that is issued orally, the primary ingredient of which is tetrodotoxin, the deadly substance of the notoriously poisonous porcupine fish. According to legend, quote, a zombie is someone who has annoyed his or her family and community to the degree that they can no longer stand to live with this person. So, if you are so obnoxious that people want to see you dead, but they don't want you to, like, be dead, they'll turn you into a zombie.
That is an interesting level of annoying.
Yeah, like, I really wish that you didn't exist, but you're useful to me.
Yeah.
So if we can just take the part of you that annoys the piss out of me out and just make you useful, then we're fine.
I see you sitting down in your full Bokor dress, like talking to a member of your family and having this exact conversation.
Yeah.
You've got like crow skulls on a, yeah.
Sharpening a sacrificial knife, and they respond by hiring a Bokor to turn them into a zombie. Once they had been issued the Cupadre, the subjects, being prepared for their descent into zombiedom, would appear to die insofar as their heart rate would slow to a near stop, their breathing patterns would be greatly subdued, and their body temperature would significantly decrease. The public, thinking that this person was dead, would bury him or her as if they were a corpse. They would then be exhumed, still alive, by the Bokor, and although their physicality remained intact, their memory would be erased, and they would be transformed into mindless drones, who, though still living, will remain under the Bokor's power until the Bokor dies.
Wow.
Yeah. So, or it makes me wonder if, like, there would be an upkeep for the Bokor, like, continuing to give the tetrodotoxin, or if it's just a one-time deal.
I think it's supposed to be, because this has been kind of disproven that this actually happened.
Right, sure.
This goes into the guy that wrote this book, and I can't remember the name of the book. It's within my notes somewhere.
Yeah.
But the guy who wrote this book, a lot of scientists have disproven it since, because there was a man that came out and said, I was a zombie for 20 years of my life. And they did toxicology stuff on him. They ran tests on him and saw that there was, and they've gone to Haiti and seen some of these Bokors and seen these like zombie powders that they make. And there's no trace of this stuff in these zombie powders.
Right, yeah.
It seems like this was more of a sensationalist horror story to sell books and to be like, whoa,
yeah,
than actually was based in reality.
According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word zombie first appeared in English around 1810 when an historian, Robert Southey, mentioned it in his book History of Brazil. But this zombie was not the familiar brain-eating man-like monstrosity, but instead a West African deity.
Huh.
So I imagine, I mean, since there's so many like major and minor deities, you could spend probably hours going through each of them and picking out which ones would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
So, but in the vein of what we're trying to tie together here, this is from Live Science stating that the Oxford Dictionary basically said that zombie was one of the West African deities in, I guess, Voodon't.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So that's part of where we get it from. Is that the name of the guy whose book you were talking about?
No, this was a guy who went there in like the early 1900s.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought I had that guy, but I guess I didn't. It was 1810.
One of the things about the Bokor that I find interesting is they're talked about a lot in folklore as serving the Loa with both hands, which means they practice both good and bad magic.
Yeah.
But they're not considered good or evil.
Right.
They're just sorcerers. But from everything I could read, in actuality, a practicing Bokor is distrusted.
Right.
Because they're a sorcerer, they're a conjurer.
Yeah.
Versus a Hungan or a Mambo.
Which would be like the priest.
Which would be the priests, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense, you know, if you're dabbling in the dark arts, you know, you're dabbling in the idea of the dark arts is that you're dabbling in something that mortals should not be concerned with. You know, you're delving into stuff that you shouldn't control because there is so much power within it. You know, that's really what dark magic is. It's not necessarily that dark magic is evil per se, because that depends on what your observation of evil is as a society.
Well, and it goes
so
to...
like, for some people, raising the dead might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But because society has said, we don't want you to bring back our loved ones as mindless drones to carry out tasks for you, because that's somehow disrespectful in our eyes, then that's what makes it evil, quote unquote evil.
Yeah, it's all based around how you revere the dead. Like in Voodoo, they have a ceremony called a year and a day, where when a body dies, you don't celebrate their funeral or
celebrate their passing.
Yeah, for a year and a day.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that their spirit has traveled to the mountains or the rivers, and the spirit isn't lost, but is just doing what the spirits do for a year and a day. Okay. And then they come back to their body, and that's when you celebrate their passing.
Ah, okay. So you just, like, by celebrating, you mean mourning, or just... you can
celebrating their life.
Okay.
Because they've joined, their spirit has joined back into the other spirits.
Okay.
That's one of the things that when reading about Voodoo really got me. Because, like I've talked about before, I've been kind of in a weird, dark place with, you know, breakup and all that stuff going on.
Right, sure.
So I'm always looking for something new.
Yeah.
And reading about Voodoo, I'm not going to become a Voodoo priest. I'll just put that out there now. Yeah. But reading about Voodoo, I really liked the idea that everything has a spirit. When you die, your spirit just kind of rejoins the spirits again.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of a staple of even Western religion.
Sure.
You have
absolutely.
Christianity, you go to heaven. That's the same thing. Your spirits are joining the other spirits.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that you have Loas, spirits that actually lead you. Like Baron Samedi is the spirit that leads your body. He greets you when you die. He greets you by digging your grave, your spirit grave, I guess.
Yeah.
With a cigar in his mouth and a cup of rum in his hand.
Really?
Yeah. He's the spirit of the dead, but he's also the spirit of debauchery. He's known in stories as like being really raunchy.
Okay.
And he tells like really dirty jokes constantly, and he has a really foul mouth.
So, okay, yeah, that's right up your alley.
Yeah. So I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, that being said, tying this kind of back to zombies and the Bokor raising people from the dead, in main culture America, this is all just an entertainment thing. Zombies are just an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
But if you were to talk about zombies in like Haiti or some of these other practicing voodoo or Voodon't places, they would take you very seriously.
Yes.
Because that's still something that is to be concerned about. It's not just, you can't just go joking about zombies.
Yeah, I would wonder how much Western influence there is, though. Whether there's been enough people who've traveled to Haiti who've been like, you guys make zombies? That zombies are now a little bit more like eye-rolly to them.
Well, I imagine that it is, but at the same time, I would feel like there's probably a few people who would be like, well, I guess, you know, if there's a genuine concern, if somebody's a zombie, that there would be, in the case of possessions for Catholics.
Yeah.
Or other parts of Christianity, where people genuinely believe that they are being possessed by a demon, or that somehow a demon has possessed their child, or what have you, where there are still exorcisms that happen even today.
That's what's crazy. I just made this connection now with you talking about it between Catholicism and Voodoo, and even just Christianity in general and Voodoo. When you get into different sects of Christianity, like the Pentecostals,
right,
who believe in speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
They believe that God has reached down and touched you,
yeah,
or that you've been inhabited by a good spirit.
Yeah.
And that's why you're speaking in tongues. Just like whenever you have an exorcism, you've been inhabited by a bad spirit.
Yeah.
Or a demon. They still have the idea that there's good spirits and bad spirits that can inhabit your body.
Yeah.
Which goes to voodoo. In voodoo rituals and in voodoo celebrations, they go through and they sing hymns to each of the Loas. Yeah. These things can last all night sometimes.
Wow.
And the priests or priestess that is running it can often be inhabited by a different Loa.
Huh.
And these Loas can be good or evil and can try to trick you. So one of the examples I read specifically is that if a priest or a priestess walks up to you while they're inhabited by a Loa and like asks you for a drink
Yeah.
or asks you for money or anything like that, you say no.
Okay.
Because it brings bad luck upon you if you say yes. I'm not exactly sure why.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just because this is like they've been inhabited by a tricky spirit that's trying to get stuff from you.
Yeah.
And by you falling for it, you've allowed this tricky Loa into our world.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. Like I think I mentioned earlier, is allowing these spirits to leave the other side and come fully into our world and inhabit something, whether it be a fetish, a totem, or a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go back into that. What is the significance of these different totems?
They're just your ties to the different Loas.
Okay. So, I mean, is there a reason why you're binding Loas to totems?
It's in the same way that you would pray to a saint.
Okay.
So if you, there's so many different Loas, I don't have the names of different ones.
Sure, yeah.
But say you are lovelorn. You would have a totem to one of the Loas of love, one of the major Loas, or you could get one of the minor spirits in the case of having like a lock of your person's hair that you've made a fetish out of. And you would put that on an altar.
Okay.
And then you would pray, and I use pray in quotes because I don't know if they actually sit down Christian style and pray like you would to a god or a saint.
Well, yeah, but I mean, praying doesn't necessarily have to be like hands placed together,
That's just what I picture, I guess.
Right, yeah. It's just ingrained into us because we were raised Christian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you set up an altar with the different things you want to pray to, and you kind of create your own altar. Yeah.
Okay. So this is your own just personal collection of spirits.
Yes.
Now, do the spirits mind this? Or is this just part of the culture?
It's just part of the culture.
So if I bound a spirit to my microphone in order to make my, am I using it to like make my voice sound better or give me positive luck in my endeavors while I'm recording? Or
yeah.
Okay.
But you can't bind a spirit forever to your microphone.
Okay.
You would be praying to a spirit who would then inhabit your microphone for as long as they decided they wanted to inhabit your microphone.
Okay, so they have a freedom of will to it.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're not respecting the spirit, if you're not treating the Loa how you should be, the Loa can leave.
Right. Okay.
You're magically binding them for as long as they decide to stay.
Okay. So that's what I was getting to. Like, can you forcibly bind a spirit to the point where they don't want to be?
Now, the priest and priestesses, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Or maybe the Bokor.
Yeah, the Bokor I'm sure can.
Yeah.
Did I say they're considered, they practice magic out of both hands?
Yeah.
Which goes back to witchcraft.
Yeah, I was going to make
which is the left hand, the left hand path and the right hand path.
Yeah. I was actually going to draw the parallel between witchcraft when you were talking about it as well. Because you have the, if you do, whatever you do in witchcraft comes back threefold.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something good for somebody, then you will be rewarded in kind threefold. However, if that was something that was, that was kind of nice, you'll get something much better in return. Whatever that may be, it could be something physical, it could be something emotional. But if you do something bad to somebody, then your bad comes back in threefold as well. So
you also have the idea of sacrificing animals, which when people picture voodoo, at least for me, when I picture voodoo, I picture somebody cutting the throat of a chicken.
Right.
The act of and sacrificing animals does happen in voodoo.
Okay.
But the act of sacrificing animals it's not the death of the animal that is where the power derives from. It's not, I slit its throat in your honor.
Right.
It's the shedding of blood is giving blood to the Loa.
Okay.
To enter this world.
Okay.
So it's seen as more of an act of life.
Yeah, blood is the power of life. So if you spill the blood, then that allows a Loa access to the physical world.
Yes. Whereas I think in Christianity, especially when you had the Old Testament Christians who to atone for your sins, you had to sacrifice animals.
Yeah.
It was the death of the animal in honor of God that was the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't word that very well, but
No, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
it was the death of the animal versus the life of the death of the animal in voodoo. Am I getting winky wonky here?
Yeah, you got.
I've had a lot of coffee.
You got a little squirrely there at the end, but no, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
Well, the whole idea of that's funny because I was gonna bring up the sacrifices of Christianity in the past as well,
Mhm.
whereas the practice of sacrificing animals to God kind of passed when Jesus came along.
Right.
Because Jesus was put on the cross for our sins, and the shedding of his blood and his death was what opened up our ability to be saved or to get into heaven, to get forgiveness for our sins.
Right. Jesus was the sacrificial lamb
Yes.
that superseded all the other lambs.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to go around stabbing lambs anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Which was disappointing for lamb stabbers,
Yeah.
which were pretty big in Jerusalem at the time.
But I don't think I don't know if the actual death of the animal was the reason why they did it in Christianity either.
I don't know. I mean, it was the bloodshed of Jesus. If you look at Jesus as the example,
Yeah.
it was his death for humanity that was the reason why we don't have to sacrifice animals anymore.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
So
I think you could probably go either way on the argument. I think we'd have to actually do more research into that
yeah.
to make a definitive case on it.
But you're looking at Old Testament God here.
Yeah.
Old Testament God wanted things dead.
Yeah, I mean, he was a douche.
Yeah.
Old Testament God was a real dick. Here, have a flood. Oh, here's a plague.
Salt.
Salt everywhere. Your wife? She's a salt bitch now.
But I liked my wife.
Well, maybe she shouldn't have looked back at the city.
Yep.
I told you not to. You did it anyway. Human curiosity will be the death of you.
But you gave us human curiosity, God.
No, an apple did. An apple that I specifically told you not to eat.
The one thing you told us not to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But then your snake came and gave us the apple. I don't get it.
Listen, the snake had nothing to do with it. Okay?
The snake totally did. You even
No.
talk about it.
No.
Man, Old Testament God, you're a real dick.
I'm glad we have New Testament God now.
Me too. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He gives us cigarettes.
What?
I don't know. When I think of cool dude, I picture like a guy giving cigarettes to underage kids. Hey kid, you want to smoke?
So what other voodoo stuff do we have?
Unfortunately, that is most of what I have on Voodoo.
I mean, we covered a pretty good amount.
Here's a quick Voodoo story that is relatively recent, within the last 10 years, that I think kind of goes to show how Voodoo is viewed still.
Okay.
I'm just going to read this story outright. It's just a couple of paragraphs.
Okay.
This is from Listverse.
And I'll come back to us talking about the powder and the stuff of voodoo that makes zombies.
Okay.
And then I'll go into zombies from there.
Zombies proper.
Yeah. As we know them today.
Roughly half of Haiti's 9.6 million citizens practice voodoo. Needless to say, the religion holds a large and influential position in the country. However, the belief in voodoo and a lack of information about cholera became a problem when there was a serious cholera outbreak after a devastating earthquake rocked the impoverished island on January 12, 2010. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Between October and December 2010, 2,500 people died from the waterborne disease. Another 121,000 were showing symptoms, and 63,500 people had been admitted to a hospital. Many Haitians did not know what cholera was or how it could affect them, which led to mass panic in some areas of the country. They began blaming voodoo priests for spreading the disease.
Oh.
Mobs killed 45 voodoo priests over the span of a few weeks in December 2010.
Wow.
Many were lynched, stoned, or hacked to death with machetes and then set on fire in the streets.
Good Lord.
Most of the mob murders happened in the coastal town of Jeremy, although there were also a few in Cap Haitian and the Central Plateau. After the attacks, the Minister of Communication for Haiti called for calm and asked for help from the United Nations to spread knowledge about the disease. During the 2010 outbreak, 200,000 Haitians died of cholera.
Wow.
As of autumn 2015, it is still a major problem.
I don't think I'd actually heard the numbers of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it because we actually had a Haitian fellow who worked at the place that I worked at the time, and he was doing relief and stuff and going back and forth and that sort of thing. It was a pretty trying time for him.
Yeah, I imagine. So that's how quickly the mob can turn now, really.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
That they had enough belief in voodoo to say blame the voodoo priest for causing this.
Yeah. So still a widely practiced religion is what the point really that you're trying to bring up.
It said nearly half of its 9.3 million followers.
Yeah. So going back to the zombie thing, zombies have had a place in entertainment for quite a while.
Right.
For decades, Westerners considered zombies little more than fictional movie monsters, but that assumption was questioned in the 1980s when a scientist named Wade Davis claimed to have found the powder that could create zombies, thus providing a scientific basis for zombie stories. Davis didn't believe in voodoo magic, but he did believe that he had found something that could poison victims into a zombie-like state, which is the neurotoxin tetrodotoxin,
I think it is.
Yeah. Tetrodotoxin, which can be found in several animals, including the pufferfish. He claimed to have infiltrated secret societies of Bokors and obtained several samples of the zombie-making powder, which were later chemically analyzed.
What was the guy's name?
Wade Davis.
Wade Davis. So a guy named Wade Davis infiltrated Bokor secret societies?
Yeah. Hey guys, I just wanted to know what it'd be like to know about zombies.
I'm a Bokor too.
Yeah.
Back in my hometown of Kansas, I'm a regular.
Davis wrote a book on the topic called The Serpent and the Rainbow, which was later made into a horror film.
Yeah, The Serpent and the Rainbow is a good book.
Yeah. For a while, Davis was widely touted as the man who had scientifically solved the mystery of zombies. However, Davis's claims were later challenged by skeptical scientists who regarded his methods as unscientific, pointing out that the samples of zombie powder he provided were inconsistent and that the amounts of neurotoxin contained in those samples were not high enough to create zombies. Furthermore, the dosages used by the Bokors would need to be exact since too much of the toxin could easily kill a person. Others pointed out nobody had ever found any of the many supposed plantations filled with these zombie laborers on the small island country of Haiti. But he continued on. He championed forward, if you will, by addressing the problems with his theories in his second book called The Passage of Darkness, The Ethnobiology of the Haitian Zombie. And he refuted some of the more sensational claims attributed to him. Still, he insisted that Haitian belief in zombies could easily be based on the admittedly rare cases where a person was poisoned by a tetrodotoxin and later revived inside the coffin and taken from the grave. So that's where the Haitian zombie is. Of course, we can't talk about zombies and not talk about the impact that they've had especially over the past 10 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In entertainment. We've had, dozens upon dozens of movies. We've had continued books. We've had zombies ranging from mystical creatures to scientific aberrations.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Resident Evil. A lot of the Resident Evil zombies are the result of things like neurotoxins and poisons that are man-made.
Yeah.
We have kind of like biblical zombies where, the rapture and people coming back from the dead because of that. And a lot of mixes between that. Like not enough space in heaven.
Yeah.
So they come back. Which I think is largely attributed to like the Living Dead one, isn't it?
When there's no more room in hell, the dead walk the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Living Dead? Is that the Romero stuff or is that the Okay, so for clarification on that, since you're looking at me very confused, like George Romero wasn't the only one who wrote zombie movies. He actually had a writing partner named John Russo. They split ways after the first movie, and anything that was Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, etc., and so on, any of the Return of the Living Dead, Romero they agreed to let Russo have the rights for the quote-unquote living dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Romero agreed to use the just of the dead on any subsequent media that they produced.
Yeah, like the quote that I just made was from Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. So, of course, there's this weird, and I say it's weird, but what are zombies known for?
Eating brains.
Eating brains. The number one thing that you said. Nowhere in almost any telling of zombie stories do they specifically eat brains.
Even in Night of the Living Dead, they weren't going after brains.
No.
They were just killing people.
Yeah, they were just going after the bodies. They eat human flesh.
Yeah.
And this is from a Gizmodo article that I found. While Romero is noted as the source for many of the common zombie tropes, like the shambling movement and hunger for human flesh being the most prominent, zombies don't actually eat brains in any of the 6 of the Dead series of films that he directed. In fact, Romero himself has no idea where the brain eating came from, and in a 2010 interview with Vanity Fair, when asked about the link between zombies and brains, Romero very bluntly explained that, quote, "Whenever I sign autographs, they always ask me, write eat brains. I don't understand what that means. I've never had a zombie eat a brain, but it's become this landmark thing." Romero went on to explain that although zombies do indeed eat human flesh, he's never given much thought as to why they do this, and even expressed amusement at the idea of film exploring the idea of, as he put it, do zombies shit. So the zombies eating brains is actually attributed to The Simpsons.
Seriously?
Yeah. Or at least the idea that it's become so widespread that they eat brains. In 1992, The Simpsons, during one of their Treehouse of Horror segments, did Dial Z for Zombies, which was a spoof of Return of the Living Dead, which is one of the earliest pieces of media with the exception of Return of the Living Dead itself to feature brain-eating zombies. To quote Matthew Belinkie of Overthinkingit.com, "Millions of kids saw this episode before they were old enough to see a real zombie film. I suspect that for a whole generation this was the first zombie we ever saw, and that, my friends, is why we think zombies eat brains."
Huh.
Even though most of us have never seen a movie where this is the case.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So another trope is some stories go on to tell why a zombie exists as a zombie, but a lot of films actually don't go into it. Films and shows, Walking Dead, for instance, Romero stuff, it was never really about why the zombies existed. It was about our reaction to the zombies.
Yeah.
What we would do as human beings. How would we treat other human beings if faced with these insurmountable, barely functioning, flesh-loving creatures? You know, will we band together to strike the zombies down? Will we form these small segmented groups, which generally just seems to be what happens.
Mm.
And then we fight each other for resources while also trying to keep the zombies at bay, which is stupid, for the record. If anybody... What?
Oh, I'm just laughing at the knowledge you're about to impart here.
If for some reason, some magic or otherwise, zombies are a real thing, band together. Always band together. Always. Because there's safety in numbers.
Yeah.
You don't want to form these small little cliques. You want to have multiple people who can lead, but who are also talking to each other to figure out the best way to do it.
Like a sort of council of people.
Yes, exactly. You don't want just one dude controlling everything, because then he gets power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the nature of things. So, as far as zombies go, if we ever encounter a zombie apocalypse, the best way for humans to survive is to band together. And really, that's kind of true of any apocalypse, you know, or any attack or anything like that. We will fare better together.
Yeah, I think the idea of the lone wolf surviving a zombie apocalypse or any sort of apocalypse just isn't based in reality. Yeah. It's a cool idea, but it's not going to pan out.
Right. Because there's only so far that... In fact, it's really funny... One of the new episodes of Doctor Who actually kind of addresses this with the female doctor.
Yeah.
She has lost the TARDIS during the last the last outing of Doctor Who, the TARDIS kind of like disappears,
Okay.
gets exploded or something. I don't remember now. It's been long enough that I don't remember. Sorry, Ginger. But the Doctor ends up using some random technology to send herself and accidentally send her companions out into the middle of space, where she had gotten a reading that the energy that the TARDIS puts off was coming from.
Okay.
So it turns out that the planet that she was aiming for was actually out of phase. It had slipped from its orbit a little bit. So she ends up actually accidentally spacing them.
Just throwing them into the cold vacuum of space?
Yeah. And through, a little bit of Deus Ex Machina, a couple of people happen to show up. They end up on the ship. And they go to this planet, find out that they're involved in a massive multi-system race for money and influence, etc., and so on. So this is like a cross-space race.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. There are only 2 racers left that had started who are still alive. And one of them is a very lone wolf kind of guy. The other one is just pretty good at surviving.
Yeah.
But she's not above asking for help. So this other guy, they try to drive the point home of he's a real lone wolf. He doesn't take help from anybody. He tells a story of his mother who he was stuck up in a tree and she said, "Jump down, I'll catch you." And when she finally convinced him to jump, she moved and said, "You can't trust anybody." That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I broke my leg and I learned that day that I can't even trust anybody. He ends up, of course, trusting them, and they both arrive at the winning portion of the race at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they have to convince the race coordinator that he needs to award them both half of the prize.
Oh, okay.
And he's all like, "Fuck you, this is my race, no." And then the Doctor's like, they're both like, "We just survived this. Can you imagine the kind of hell that we will put you through if you don't?"
So does he end up splitting the prize?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And then he ends up leaving the Doctor and her new companions.
Like stranding them?
On the planet, yeah.
So is that where they are now, is on this planet?
No, they got off because the TARDIS was actually there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but for a brief second, she was all like, I've done fucked up. Yeah.
I done did it again.
Yep. But anyway, spoilers for that episode, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody who was going to watch it probably has. That was 2 episodes ago, I think. 1 or 2 episodes ago. Anyway, Romero has for a long time been kind of the basis for anything zombie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like if you ever need zombie information, he's the guy you look up because he made his whole career around zombies.
I mean, he technically created the Western zombie.
Yeah.
I was reading about zombies a little bit before we started recording, and there have been zombie movies before George Romero. Of course. There's been the idea of zombies.
Right. The first zombie movie that we've actually seen where zombies actually got their own, like they were the star of the show, as it were, was a film in 1932 called White Zombie, which I can only assume is where the band White Zombie got their name.
Yeah.
And subsequent Rob Zombie things. White Zombie was a American horror film independently produced by Ed Haberlin and directed by Victor Haberlin, back when, families were in the movie business. Starring Bela Lugosi, who was a white Haitian voodoo master who commanded a crew of zombies.
Oh, so they went with the Haitian-style zombies.
Yeah, because back then there wasn't this idea that zombies were, the Western zombie that we picture today.
You had to have somebody creating the zombies
instead there had
of
to
just
be.
The zombies being there.
Yeah, it was a mystical form of dark arts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so... But zombies themselves have existed outside, even outside of the undead, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, expanding it. They've existed for ever since humans have been able to think of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. The idea of like, hey, that thing that's dead over there, what if it came back to life?
Right. So it's not just, voodoo or Voodon't or whatever where it truly originates from. Some people have said that Mayans were destroyed by zombies.
Of course.
Reports of widespread cannibalism at the end of the Mayan civilization suggest something much more sinister than a simple drought or cross-tribal dispute. Bones found in and around Mayan cities shows signs of being violently ripped from their sockets and chewed to bits on the spot. Evidence has been found of children eating their parents and entire villages devouring themselves within a matter of days.
Good lord.
In Syria, evidence suggests that the Stone Age heads were originally buried with their bodies intact, but then after several years, they were dug up and their skulls were crushed and separated from the rest of the skeleton. No one knows why face smashing and careful removal of the heads took place. Some say it could have been because people in the area were trying to prevent the dead coming back to life. The act of putting gravestones on top arises from the fear of the dead coming back to life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so whenever you'd see a body that had just a bunch of stones put on top of it, the weight of the stones was to keep the body, if somebody wasn't dead, from rising back from the dead. But most people who look into the mystical side of zombies usually think that it's primarily from the voodoo, specifically like the Haitian zombies.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So yeah, I feel like I had more, but I don't really think I do. Kind of going over my notes.
Yeah,
I think that covers pretty much the zombie and voodoo tie-ins, and then what zombies mean to us today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I hope that we got a pretty good tie-in between that for the listeners.
Yeah.
I feel like we did. I mean, voodoo, zombies, as I learned 2 hours ago, go hand in hand.
Exactly. So if you liked this episode, and I hope that you did, let us know in the comments. Or if you have any questions or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the Facebook page. Like these nice people, Brandon.
We have a couple comments this week, Remington.
Okay.
We have a comment from Viscount Terry W. Irvin II, who said, thumbs up to Bucky for participating after a long day at work at a new job. Then he goes on to talk about the Chuck Wendig firing, which we discussed last week.
Right.
I'm not so sure if Disney's squeaky clean image maintenance that was the driving force for the firing. An employee's divisive political comments that could cause a large segment of the population to turn away from supporting Disney, lowering revenue not only short-term but possibly long-term, is a problem for Disney. I guess one could argue that the firing might anger the segment of folks that support Wendig's point of view, but rather than let the potential controversy drag on, be decisive and move on seemed to be the decision.
Yeah, which I completely agree with as far as that goes. When you're looking at a business, quick, decisive action is usually the way to go, even if it's wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
In his particular case, I don't think it was wrong, but...
He goes on to say, if a person chooses to work for a company, that person still has freedom of speech and expression, which is very true. Nevertheless, if and how that freedom is used and expressed can have employment retention consequences, especially if such expression can or does adversely impact that company.
Yeah.
Is it fair to the employee? No. Is it fair to the employer? No. The blame, if anyone is to be blamed, lies with the customers who react negatively to such expressions.
Yeah.
People just need to chill the fuck out about everything.
Yeah, about literally everything.
Stephen Levitt commented, who is Slev, right?
Yep, that's Slev.
Slev commented and said, Bucky, get out. JK, this was one of my favorite podcasts. You guys talked about so many things. Where do I begin? First off, I think Aladdin will do fine. Will Smith will do a great comedy job. Nothing compared to Robin Williams, but will make it his own. I don't mind when they follow the script. I'd rather them stick to the story than change things up. Avatar The Last Airbender was trash. I was so hyped for that movie, and M. Night Shyamalan messed up in my opinion. Changed the sound of Aang's name, enough said. And yes, I love playing Fortnite with Dueling because when he dies, he has the most epic god voice.
Yeah.
What is your epic god voice?
The pigs in space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Always so much fun, even though it's Fortnite. It will have its haters, but man, is it a fun game. Loving the new COD Battle Royale style, and about that robot, we are screwed. And finally, Bucky commented and said, thanks for having me on. Sorry I was all filthy. Also, I love the name of the episode. The name of the episode being The Bucky Stops Here.
Yeah. I thought that was very coy.
Yeah, it was good. It was very on the nose, but also clever.
Right. Thank you. Also, over on the YouTubes, we had one singular solitary comment. Watch time 102 minutes, views 11. You guys feel free to watch it more on YouTube. Or listen to it more on YouTube. I know it's a little more difficult. I mean, it's a podcast, but Blutonian left a comment graciously on us. Said, "Here is a comment for you guys, since I hear that you want them."
Oh, well, thank you, Blutonian. Much appreciated.
Oh, his dry sense of humor will never not be enjoyable for me. So that wraps up the comments. Make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com for new shows and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. And finally, be sure to find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast, or even on iTunes where you can leave a review.
Yeah, a 5-star review even.
A 5-star review to boost us higher on the Cool Kids list. Hi, Thaddeus. He's like, pay attention to me, Dad. Sorry, Brandon.
It's okay.
So until next week,
distracted
Ogres.
by the cat. It's
I
fine.
did. I'm sorry. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp. Good night.
Okay, recording has started.
The recording has started.
I turned off the double.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, sorry.
How'd you know that's what I was testing? Because I was doing my spooky voice?
Yeah. Because you went right into the spooky voice.
The recording has started.
The recording has started. Ooh.
The Monster Mash.
It was a graveyard smash. Bobby Boris Pickett. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes.
You know, one of the funniest jokes I think I ever saw on The Simpsons is when they listen to the radio and it's Valentine's Day and the DJ's like, all right, let's put in one of those heart-wrenching Valentine's Day tracks. And then the Monster Mash plays. And then it comes back and he's like, I don't know what happened with that. Sorry, guys. Like, basically apologizes. And then you keep hearing people turning on the radio, like, in the background. And it's just continuously the Monster Mash and continuously, like, this frazzled DJ who's like, why is this happening? I don't understand. Ooh. Ooh. Hello.
Is there anybody in there?
It's not if you could hear me. Is there anyone at all?
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown bring me round again to find.
Wow, this picks up really well.
Yarp. That'd do.
I need to be careful because I shift a lot. It's hard for me to stay still.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Oh, brother. Oh, man.
Thanks for getting fucking Rocket Man stuck in my head.
Yeah, not a problem, dude. There we go. You are a spaceman floating on a rock in the middle of the universe.
That'll be our royalty-free parody Rocket Man. Like, just different enough that we don't get in trouble for it. Not a parody. Like how Space Oddity by David Bowie and Rocket Man by Elton John are very similar as far as their themes.
Yeah.
We just need to write our own.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be quite a while.
And I think it's going to be a measure of time.
Till something brings me back to Earth again. 'Cause I'm a spaceman. Doing all my stuff in space, you know.
I'm glad this is all recording.
Trademark, by the way.
TMC with a circle around it. R
I like wearing the headphones.
for restricted. Yeah. I'll get you a set.
C, copyright.
Yeah. I did that already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I double C.
It's double copyrighted.
Yeah. In case that first copyright doesn't hold up, in case Elton John, that son of a bitch, breaks through that first copyright with his fists.
Because you know Bowie isn't going to do anything about it because he's dead.
Yeah.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Shut up, phone. You're supposed to be muted.
Stupid phone.
Join the
Elton
Humble
John with
Brothers.
his mighty hands from playing piano.
Yeah.
You know, he's got muscles on top of muscles on those hands.
Yes.
He could crack a walnut with each finger. Just
Oh, Extra Life. The charity. Yeah. Play games, heal kids. Hi, Remington. Extra Life unites thousands of gamers around the world to play games in support of their local Children's Miracle Network hospital. Humble Bundle is participating in Extra Life again this year with a team goal of $5,000. We need your help to reach our goal. We invited all Humble partners to participate in Extra Life by joining our team. Humble partners and friends, feel free to join our team and dedicate a day of play for kids. The Humble 24-hour Extra Life stream is planned for Saturday, November 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That'll be like 1 or 2 o'clock here.
Mhm.
We will be live on twitch.tv/humble. If you have time, drop by and say hi. Might be worth putting on our calendar. I'll have to leave that up too. Actually, I have that. Oh, shit. I have it going to the merchandising email and the admin email, so I'll just leave the other one unread so I can have a reminder. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man burning out his fuse out here alone.
Great. Now we're going to get trademark slapped.
We always do. We got trademark slapped in the last episode.
For what?
For the fucking robot one. Because I left the music playing in the background because we were talking.
Seriously?
Yeah, the fucking robot one.
Like the parkour robot?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't even know what's in there. Oh, I know what's in there. I thought I had taken it out, to be honest.
Yeah. That's so stupid.
I forgot.
It seems you have music in your podcast again.
Do you have the rights for the music?
No,
Mr. Herr Hitchcock?
I thought it was free music. It's playing in a science video.
Of course it's not, Herr Hitchcock. Nothing is free, Herr Hitchcock. Can you get a little breathier when you say that? Herr Hitchcock.
I appreciate that he decides to go along with it too.
Yeah.
Herr Hitchcock.
Now, get out of my laboratory. Because all Germans work in a laboratory.
Yeah, they do. Not a laboratory.
No, a laboratory.
Laboratory.
No!
Get the script. Get the script. I didn't think it was that funny until you just erupted in laughter.
Get the script.
I forgot how tickled you get when I go full retard.
No!
See, we did unsinkable last time. Should we continue with the U word and do unspeakable?
Unspeakable's good. Because that means you can't speak it.
Should I go with the Bela Lugosi or should I do something else?
I think you should go with German.
Will the German sound good in the...
Oh, no, you're right. Go Bela Lugosi. Always go Bela Lugosi, but I feel like Bela Lugosi's a safe bet.
Yeah, if you got a reverb going on, you have to go Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
That's only because I can't do a passable...
Vincent Price.
Yeah, Vincent Price. Unless you want to do the intro as a Vincent Price.
Mine's terrible because
but it's closer than mine.
I just talk like this the whole time.
That's still closer than mine.
That's my Vincent Price. Now I can do the intro as Vincent Price.
Yes? Okay. Do you want the headphones to see how it's going to sound?
Terrible Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Hello, ogres, and welcome to episode 171. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this unspeakable Wednesday evening, Earth date October 31st, 2018. I'm your host, Brandon Full. I got thrown off there.
Yeah.
And with me, as always, is my co-host, Remington Hitchcock. Say hello, Remington.
Do you think that'll work?
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay.
I'll try to speed it up a little bit because it was a little slow, but
Okay. Sounds good. All right. We will get ready to go. Do you want the headphones on for it? Okay.
yep.
That clap doesn't count.
Yep.
Yup. Pull up the grip.
Mama me mama.
Vincent Price vocal warm-ups.
Vocal warm-ups. Mama me mama.
Ma me moo ma. Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
It's ridiculous. Why do we do this to ourselves
I don't
every
know.
week?
I'm so underprepared for today.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah,
That's fine.
you're welcome.
It's fine.
It'll be what it'll be.
I was looking it up right before we started.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Even if it's a shorter episode.
I tried, every time I tried to sit down. Hold on, let me turn the echo off. Or the doubler, rather. Every time I tried to sit down to start doing it, something else
Yeah.
pulled me away. I was just like, I need to sit down and do this. Oh, this thing's going on. Oh, I need to take the puppers out. Oh, I need to start on dinner. Oh, I need to work on this, whatever it is. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
very
I was
annoying.
sitting with my laptop in front of me, Facebook on one tab, like 4 tabs open with Voodoo notes, and it's just like I have so much Voodoo knowledge that I retained in my head,
Yeah.
and then I have the notes to kind of bounce off of.
Yeah.
But there's so much there. Like I didn't even get into the history of like where exactly it came from,
Yeah.
outside of like where its roots are, because
Right.
it's so intrinsically tied into like the African slave trade.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Don't you dare touch my goddamn mic, Remington.
I'm doing it.
Quit.
Turn that a little bit more toward you.
I had the headphones on. I know how I sound.
Yeah. Now you sound just a little bit better.
Remington.
I'm sitting pretty close to mine, which is why I was moving it. Just because I don't have a lot of choice.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I guess I could sit closer if you want me to.
Or just pull it a little closer to you. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because I project more than you naturally.
Yeah.
So.
I have the quiet, nasally voice of a nanny mouse.
Of a nanny mouse?
I was thinking of Fran Drescher there.
Oh, okay.
Probably the most famous of the nannies.
Yes.
Second only to Mr. Belvedere, I guess. Or Mr. Belvedere would be second to her.
Mr. Belvedere was not a nanny.
He was a butler, but I mean in the
They
same
are
profession.
not the same thing. A nanny takes care of the children.
You're right. But
A
she
butler
cleaned the
takes care of
house
the
too.
house.
She was basically a maid.
Well, that's because she was fucking her boss.
Was she fucking him? I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
they were fucking.
Oh, yeah, they were fucking.
There was like an will they won't they to the whole thing.
Well, yeah, but that's because it was, late evening television. So they couldn't actually have them fucking.
Okay, so who wins between Mr. Belvedere and Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as far as butlers go?
Oh, Carlton.
Over Mr. Belvedere?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, okay. I
No,
will
it
say-
wasn't Carlton. Jeffrey. The
or,
butler
yeah,
was
Jeffrey. Carlton was the younger.
Yeah.
See, it's been a long time since I've seen any Mr. Belvedere. Maybe I'll have to watch some to refresh my memory. But Jeffrey was pretty animated sometimes.
Yeah.
Like he was all like, I can't do a Jeffrey impression either.
Yeah, you started to shake your head like you're about to do something, and I
do
was
something crazy.
where's this gonna go?
Yeah, nope. Sorry to disappoint. Yep, not gonna do that.
The cranberries. I'm gonna cram a cranberries joke in at least 2 more times, just so you know. Okay, so apparently Voodoo, I was wrong. Voodoo was brought to Haiti from West Africa by
Well-
the slave trade.
Why did you say you were wrong?
Did I say that? Did I say that Voodoo was brought to Haiti from West Africa?
We rewound it, and you said it.
Okay,
You corrected yourself.
scratch that then.
Yeah.
Flip it and reverse it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just scanning
That's
over
okay.
my notes here.
So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusk sharp.
Good night. Oh, do I need to do it more creepy?
I guess so.
Good night.
Good night.
Wait, keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp.
Good night.
There we go.
That was good.
Wait. Hold on. Let's do it one more time. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp.
No, I say in your tush sharp, you son of a bitch. You're not robbing this from me. It's my one thing.
You're a thing.
Yeah, I am.
There we go.
Perfect.
It only took 4 takes.
Yeah, another perfect episode in every
Beautiful.
way.
Yep. See, this is why I edit.
I think it'll be a good episode.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a great episode. It'll be one of our better ones.